What a day, Brad.
You didn't answer my
Christmas
question.
in July. It's Christmas in July, Brad.
You didn't answer my question.
You can ask what was your question again?
My question was, what's the only team in the Big Ten Indiana has never beaten?
Is it USC?
Yes. 0-4. Unfortunately.
We'll change that soon. I don't know why you asked me a question like that.
I don't know. I was just
looking like today.
I was on Winsipedia. I'm looking up.
Oh, John was all over it. John had it. But yeah, it's obviously it's a massive day today. Media day. We got Curt Signetti front and center. We got Elijah Surratt and Aiden Fisher and Mikal Kamara front and center. A ton of quotes, ton of different breakouts and stuff to talk about. I had an appearance on the Voice of College Football show today. Brad had an appearance on the Big Ten show for the Voice of College Football. Those are both available on the Voice of College Football channels. Obviously, there's so much Indiana stuff to talk about this week outside of Media Day, but of course, today's Media Day. So, Brad, how do you feel?
Feel about Media Day? I mean, I've seen some clips. Signetti was causing up a little stir from what I was noticing. I was checking Twitter during my 9 to 5. And yeah, I mean, this guy, I thought he was going to play it low key, but he just decided to just take shots at the SEC today. And I guess that's what we're doing. I guess that's what we're doing today. We're just taking. Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. I thought he did play it low key, but I want to put
all things considered, probably.
I want to put a slight pin in Media Day for a second. I want to cover a little bit of the smoke because there wasn't a ton going on this past week, obviously, with Media Day coming up.
How did Deshaun Foster do this year, though?
I don't think he spoke yet. But like I said, we do have a little bit of smoke, and I want to shout out the merch I'm wearing. If you listen to the show 2 weeks ago, I talked about trying to find a hat with this logo on it for way longer than I should have. Shout out to Home Field. They have the hat. So picked this up for my birthday. Got this for my birthday. Shout out to my brother Dylan. He's the man. Got the Try 5 Get 6 shirt. If you saw my tweet this week about what's some lore about yourself, I feel like I maybe not like a huge part in creating this shirt, but I did tweet and then it became a shirt. So I do want to shout out the merch. Look at that. Try 5 Get 6. Shout out D-Lo.
That's fire.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
But I want to talk about the class of 2026, Brad, real quick, and then I want to talk about Jameson Purcell. But class of 2026, we talked about last week when we were giving away the Mike Kadick Hoosier of the Year award that I mentioned the class of 2026 just being completely bought into what's going on in Indiana. I do want to highlight a couple guys. LaRon Dews was somebody who made his commitment officially official, shut down his recruitment. He also made a sick play in a 7-on-7 over the weekend, like a one-handed interception jumping over a dude, which was insane. But that's a kid who just like obviously just wants to be an Indiana Hoosier, loves being an Indiana Hoosier, and is just like going out of his way to like repeat it over and over again. So shout out to LaRon Dews. And then Jacob Savage, #1 athlete in Kentucky. Still, we got tweets from him. We got a graphic from Indiana that looked dope. And it's just like, yeah, two kids that love being Hoosiers that are coming into a really juiced class in 2026.
Love it. I feel like a majority of these guys coming in are like that, but it's good to see the love on social and things like that. And yeah, Jacob Savage coming into a pretty loaded linebacker group with the freshmen coming in the past 3 years. So it's going to be very young, very fun. Guy like him could probably make some noise for some PT, I might add. And yeah, LaRon Dews, like there's guys in this class I see a path to where, I mean, they're going to be competing with sophomores and redshirt freshmen and, you know, maybe some redshirt juniors, but it's going to be pretty top heavy depending on what they do in the portal. And a lot of these guys are going to play pretty quickly.
I agree. The other kind of like, I guess, like final domino in the class of 2026, we've been talking a couple weeks about the class pretty much being done, except for maybe being a flip destination. There is one kid they've kind of been in contact with, Cortez Redding. We talked about him last week. He's going to commit, let's say the 22nd. I think his commitment date's the 25th. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, would be a sweet get for the Hoosiers. But like we talked about the past couple weeks, like the class is at 21, 22, somewhere around there. Like it's a really good class that they're loaded at a lot of different position groups. So yeah, obviously you want to keep bringing talented kids into class, so we'll keep an eye on his commitment on was that Friday?
Yeah, we'll break down what we think is going to happen in terms of like portal, like toward the end of the year, and what's going on with this class. And it's kind of time, since most of our off seasons is kind of spent talking about the recruits. It's kind of you got to transition to this team. It's a special team. It's Signetti team number 2. I'm kicking it off because this is media day. I mean, that basically kicks off the fall camp. So it's like, here we
No,
are.
I know. I'm gonna
Here's the
pull back. I'm gonna
season.
pull back the horses real
All
quick.
right, all right,
I'll
all
pull
right.
back the horses real quick. I'll scrap some of the other stuff, but there
No,
was
you keep it, throw it all at me. You know, I'm good. People want it.
no, there was a hypothetical Big Ten SEC football challenge that I don't want to like talk about. I don't even have it sitting in front of me. I just want to mention that the matchup was IU Tennessee, and you've been beating the drum. The bluegrass battle, or what's
I
it
don't know.
called?
I just gave it a name, but it's a Indiana Kentucky rivalry they used to
Yeah,
play every year. I think that'd be perfect, you know, considering the SEC does like to play, you know, given out of conference. Right now, Kentucky plays Louisville every year. Like, why don't they just play Indiana every year? It's a better, obviously, it's the in-state blue versus red. Like, I don't know, how about the border war? You know, Oregon Washington's a big rivalry in the sense where, you know, Indiana Kentucky can get like that if, you know, they were playing more often.
agreed. I want to shout out Blake Thierry, obviously first and only winner of the Blake Thierry Freak of the Week award.
Two-time Freak of the
Two-time
Week.
winner.
He's gonna win it 3 times this week. I'm naming him Freak of the Week. Because
He
why?
is. It has to be because he was named the U.S. Marine Corps 3-sport athlete of the year. Shout out to Blake
Wow.
Thierry.
That national award?
I don't know, but how can it not be?
It sounds like it's. You should just said yes. It's a national award. It's means he's the best 3-sport athlete in the country, and he's going to come play football at Indiana University, and that's a very exciting thing. I don't care what stars say. When it comes to Gatorade Player of the Years, it's really like you are the best player in your state that year. I mean, that's just the highest honor, and he's getting a national
Did I lose
recognition in
Brad?
3 sports. What? Am I going?
No,
Dude,
you just froze on my end.
I've been here the whole time. John, did I freeze? John, let me know.
Shout out to Blake Thierry. There was also it's funny. I saw the Cleveland.com Big Ten poll, and my initial instinct was like, who cares what Cleveland.com has to say about the Big Ten? Like, I'm going to ignore this. And then like I got curious and did a little research and found out that when the Big Ten, the conference, stopped releasing a preseason poll, I think in 2010 or something like that, Cleveland.com picked it up. So that Cleveland.com poll is like the official writers poll for the Big Ten. So they predicted Indiana 6th. And Indiana fans were kind of pissed off about it, and rightfully so. And just to continue to take a step back, and Signetti repeated today, humble and hungry versus like noise and clutter. But to remain humble, it's like
They're making it easy.
being upset to be picked 6th in the conference is when it is an 18-team conference and you added 2 teams that are perennially, at least for the last 10, 15 years, in the top 10. And then you look at what USC could be, and it's like, yeah, it's a little disrespectful to this current Indiana team, like we're going to get into, but it's not a bad spot to be preseason.
Yeah,
because ultimately this doesn't matter.
I don't know why anyone expecting anything different. They're tied for 5th at Field Steel. I think they're technically they're 6th in his poll. So I don't know why anyone expecting anything different. It's about on par with kind of what everyone's expecting. Penn State's supposed to be loaded this year. I think people are assuming Oregon and Ohio State are going to be good, which is a fair assumption to make, these days. And despite all the questions they have at quarterback. And then you have Illinois, who brings back a lot of guys and are kind of the darling, which a lot of people don't like, but I kind of like that they're being the darling. It's not everyone's all over Indiana giving them their flowers in the postings. That's just like one more thing that Sig would have to deal with in the offseason, as opposed to making sure these guys are hungry, doing the right things. Like he mentioned it today in one of his quotes, I'm sure you're going to get into, but it's just like this idea of complacency, and it's humans' worst enemy is complacency.
He called himself a watchdog for complacency.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's insane. We'd always, as high schoolers, we'd always joke about that. But obviously, we be doing our stuff for the most part, but it's really a thing that as you get older, you really start to appreciate more, especially as an athlete. So yeah, I just know the guys in the locker room are maintaining that culture, which is probably one of the biggest parts of the culture is that complacency piece of everything. And we talk about all the time these young guys potentially stepping up and becoming the next leaders. Who are those guys going to be on this team? And I think we have a good idea, but in the future, when all the JMU guys are gone, what is it going to look like? And I think that's a big question moving forward. Good news is this year, we still have a majority of the culture setters still there. So, man, I went on a tangent there a little bit.
Yes, we do. All right, let's jump into media day, and we'll talk. And we are going to have the conversation about the impact of Jameson Purcell, the quarterback class of 2027 who just committed. We'll have it after because I know it's like, all right, let's talk about media day. But we are going to have that conversation because I can't overstate enough how big of a deal that is. But let's get into media day. I want to start with the first, or actually, no, we can start here. I want to start with the first quote I saw. It was about Mikhail Kamara. And I think the lead-in was like, how are you celebrating like being named to the preseason All Big Ten team or whatever it was? And he said he crushed an entire 40-ounce tomahawk by himself.
I saw that. Yeah, he doesn't sound. It's I'd be scared if I was a quarterback and I heard that. So.
Terrified. 40
I'd be
40 ounce. Oh my God.
They said it. He was like, they said it fed 2, and he was like, I needed like more food afterwards.
Yeah, he said I crushed it.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, I think he's gonna break that sack record this year. 16. What can I get Vegas odds for over 15?
You could probably find him on Kashi or something, or that app that lets you just like bet on wild stuff.
It's probably like it's probably a juicy number too.
I wrote down the Barry Odom quote, or I didn't write down the Barry Odom quote. I wrote down the Barry O quote, but like to talk about it. But then we got the Signetti quote over the top of it, which was just so funny, and he absolutely sunned him. So we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, read both quotes.
Barry Odom took a tongue-in-cheek shot at Indiana, basically saying that there's a team in the state that
I want the quote.
You got to go find it. Then I'm not going to go find it. I'm not putting any
a flicker
in my mind. I think it's funny. 2 reasons. One, like great move by Barry Odom to bring a little relevance to his program that nobody's talking about. Great. Take a cheap shot at your rival. Easy, obvious. I thought it was interesting, even though everybody knew who he was talking about, that he didn't mention Indiana by name.
He didn't mention Indiana, but we just assumed it's about. Oh, I don't know if it's necessarily about us then. Probably looking too much into it.
No, it was definitely about us. But
if you didn't mention us by name, Signetti mentions everyone by name.
They asked Signetti about Barry Odom taking a shot. This was at Sig's breakout. So there was 3 different portions of the media day. You had the like podium style like press conference, which was basically just a speech. Then you have the players and coach at the Big Ten desk in 2 separate 15-minute breakouts. Then you have the coaches and the players each sit at like an actual legitimate press conference, which I ended up missing I don't even think the players presser happened yet, but I ended up missing the Sig breakout to check Brad's appearance out on the Big Ten show. So I wrote down the quotes from Michael Niziolic. So shout out to Michael Niziolic for getting all those out there. But they asked him about the Barry Odom quote, and he said, I like Barry Odom. I didn't think much of it. That would be an overstatement, meaning like, and then what was the quote? He said,
he meant understatement.
No, he said, I didn't think much of it. That would be an overstatement. So he's saying not thinking much of it would actually be overstating how much he didn't think of it.
He was a flicker of a thought, is what he called Barry Odom.
Yes, Pitt Hoosier. Barry Odom was doing that team up north thing, which is I think it's so lame, but whatever. Listen, whatever you got to do to get traditions rolling and all that good stuff. But this isn't a.
They call it the team down south. If I say the team up north, I'm talking about Notre Dame. That's how much Purdue is.
You can call us the team that wins. How about that?
Yeah. 66-0.
But we'll go chronologically for the pressers. So we first got Sig at the podium. Then we got Signetti at the desk. Then we got Fisher, Surratt, Kamara at the desk. And then there was obviously the Sig breakout, and then the player breakout will happen at some point, probably during this show. They said they moved the media days to Vegas for logistics, and it's just like it's now 8:15, and there's still like press conference notes coming out on the East Coast. It's like 75% of the Big Ten's on Eastern or Central time. So obviously a
Well,
very
this will really
monetary
help the
driven
LA
decision.
Times out. They don't have
Yeah,
to
it
wait
helps.
till
It helps
7
the
a.m.
4 West Coast schools the most. It's like it's
Uh,
so dumb. But Signetti opened his like podium presser by stating that Indiana's been around for 126 seasons, and last year was the best one. He called them 1 out of 126, which was electric. And I will say before we get into all these quotes, I speculated last week that we were going to get a toned down version of Signetti. We're not essentially going to get that like rah rah fire up the fan base style of quote. And while the SEC quote obviously is going to catch like wildfire, I don't think there was one of those moments of like we're gonna play this soundbite over and over again. Now from his like sitting at the desk with the Big Ten, and we'll get into that quote, which was
mhm.
electric. We'll talk that one will be
I'm
played a
getting
lot.
live reactions on most of this, so
um,
I haven't had a chance to watch any of it.
he pointed to staff continuity as a big part of their success,
Mhm.
and they were the first staff in NCAA history to go 10-0 at 2 different schools, and they did so in back-to-back years, which is wildly impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, let that sink in for a second. First
Yeah.
staff in NCAA history to go 10-0 at 2 different schools, and they did it in consecutive years.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, yeah, so many stabs that move. I mean, people don't just go 10-0 in their first year. So that's like a big probably thing of it. I'm trying to think. Wait. There's never been another staff to go 10, like even if it's at the same school.
What? No, at 2 different schools.
Oh, at 2 different schools. Okay. So I feel like a staff has gone 10-0 before, but I would be
Well,
like,
like, you could look at,
that'd be like Nick Saban and
yeah,
like,
that's what I was thinking too, or like Urban Meyer,
yeah,
maybe.
it's like
But
it.
10-0 though, not 10 wins, 10-0.
10-0. Yeah, because some of those teams drop one in like week 7. So
Yeah.
like, and then they'll win out. Huh. That's something to look into.
John saying never been a head coach or staff.
Huh. I'm
We
looking
are
that
just
up.
like it's
Continue.
just another reminder that of what we're actually witnessing in real time, and not to take it for granted. He said everyone's asking him like how do you expect to sustain what's going on here. He said they're not looking to sustain, they're looking to improve. Talked about having a blueprint, being organizationally disciplined, being consistent, fast, physical, relentless, smart, disciplined, poise. Like every play has got a like the Kurt Signetti spiel, um and just kind of talk like you can tell when he goes into these like, I don't want to call them recordings, but just like he says the same monikers over and over and over again, that it's just like he hits like this different flow. And it's just like you listen to this guy talk about a football program and you're like, I'm so happy he's the person pulling all the levers. Like it's actually insane. And it's these are the little like boring nothing quotes that people aren't going to talk about, that aren't going to grab headlines, that aren't going to set the southeastern United States ablaze for 2 weeks. But it's like that's the reason why the guy is so good, because when the doors close and when it's just him and his team, that's what he's telling them. Like, we have to be consistent, we have to do the right thing every single day. And like a big part of like why a lot of the kids in the class of 2026 seem to be so bought in is like it's a standard. Like it's not just Indiana wants you, like you have to want to be at Indiana. Like it is, while it makes you a better player, and it's not easy to be held to a standard that's that rigorous every single day. And so it takes a special type of athlete to be able to even thrive in an environment like that. And they have a lot of diamonds around there. So
Yeah,
um
it's not just, I think a big reason why like these kids are excited is because I think you get some mature group of kids that are looking at it from a lens where this is actually going to set me up for the next level, not just like playing professionally, but just like after college, like what am I going to do? Am I going to go into coaching? Am I going to be a trainer? Am I going to go into the corporate world? Am I going to do this? And like just having standards built into you and ingrained is something that will translate for life. And I think that's another big sell of it. You know, it's not obviously set you up for the league, but also, you know, you're going to have a career after the league as well. And then to maintain being in the league, the not for long, you know, NFL, you know, how do you stay in it for more than 3 years, which is what most players do, is they, you know, 3 and out, you know, in the NFL. So yeah, it sets these kids up, you know, not just the athlete, but also the student, you know.
Yes, because the
Doing
NCAA cares
something
about
big,
its student
doing
athletes.
something bigger than what's the NCAA thing? The doing something bigger and something other than sports or something like that, right?
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
This was a common theme that Sig kind of repeated throughout the day. But he kind of finished up talking about his like initial speech with the team's got a lot of really nice pieces. And they have to mold together as a group. They have to mold together as a team. So the parts are great, but they need to become a team. And so that's what fall camp's going to be about. Is like, you know, and I talked about this with Mark Rogers earlier today, is like you have, you know, Fernando Mendoza, transfer quarterback. You have Pat Coogan, transfer center. You have Mikowski, transfer right tackle. Khalil Benson, who also might be factoring in a right tackle. We'll see. Was at Indiana, transferred back. You have Roman Hemby transfer. Like you have a couple of different transfers on the defense. So it's like, it's not that the talent's there. It's like, okay, cool. How do they come together as a team? And that's what fall camp's going to be about.
That's what Signetti's good at too, it seems like. So, you know, as long as the talent is there, which we see not just at the top level, which we had last year, but I would say improved at the one spot and then significantly elevated on the second string line. The depth on this team, like you said, it's just all about coming together because their level of execution last year was phenomenal. I mean, they were one of the best, you know, that EPA, like all those PFF rankings, like they loved the Hoosiers metrically, just based on, you know, just being able to execute. Those are like execution metrics. And they're able to consistently do that over and over and over again, not listen to the hype. And, you know, probably their most hyped up game all year was the Nebraska game. And they came out of there. Obviously, they played Ohio State, but, you know, Nebraska at home, you know, that's a easy trap, right? 56-7, didn't matter. Right. And I'm like trying to like pick apart. Like I was thinking the other day how like Wisconsin could be a trap game. And I'm just like, then I get back on here and I'm just like, I mean, they're just going to out execute Wisconsin. It doesn't matter how good Wisconsin is or, you know, how good they are that day, or they're just going to out execute them for 4 quarters, you know, fast, physical, relentless. That's just what they do. And that's why I made the call on the Mark Rogers show, 11-1, new blood. They're gonna surprise a lot of people again. It's gonna piss a lot of people off because they've wanted their teams to do this for a while, and that, you know, to go back to back 10. I looked it up. There hasn't been a single team to go 10. And now this year we'll have to beat Oregon and Penn State to do this. But I looked it up, and there's not a single team ever. They ChatGPT brought up, you know, 90s Florida State, Bama, Texas, Clemson, obviously. In recent memory, none of those teams did it. None of those teams went back-to-back 10-0. And Signetti's staff was able to do that with obviously playing maybe lower-level competition for the first year, but still. I mean, it worked. The fact that he's able to do it at 2 different schools is just insane, right?
Well,
Like
listen, to quote the man before he opened it up for questions, it'll all be done between the white lines. So you can talk, like, all this talk is fun.
He
and
said that first. That was the first thing he said.
No, that was like the last thing he said before he opened it up to questions.
Yeah.
It'll all be done between the white lines.
I like that. That's good. Clearly, guys like Brandon Walker don't listen to the entire press conference.
The only time he appears on my timeline is when Indiana fans are responding to him grifting about Indiana. Like, I just don't like. I know it's kind of fun to like call him an idiot, but like you don't have to follow him. You know, like I just don't follow the guy. Like I don't. He doesn't. Much like Barry Odom to Kurt Signetti. Like he's a flicker of a thought. Like I don't.
Oh, come on, Brandon Walker's pretty relevant, but you know, it's
why is no, I don't want to like be I really don't watch the guy. Like I'm not a fan. Like I guess I'm not a
Yeah, I don't
fan,
really
but like
listen to his stuff
I don't
anymore,
want to
but
be
I
like
see the
I'm not
clips.
trying to like I find
Yeah.
myself disagreeing with a lot of his opinions, and I
Yeah.
don't watch his content. It doesn't. I'm not like if you don't like him, you don't have to watch. You know what I
I
mean?
like seeing all the opinions that are out there. It gives me a knows where
Listen,
their
if
mind
the guy's
goes.
gonna be talking about the SEC, because I know that's his background and slant and where he's coming from, maybe I'll listen to it. If he's got Mike Kadick on, like yeah, I'll probably listen to that because I love Mike Kadick. But I digress.
I digress. Yeah.
To
Moving
Easter,
on, what were we talking about?
I like the fact that in college football, there's just like you made this point. There's 130 is it
I
two,
think this is
four,
126, 136, something like that.
yeah, FBS teams like it, and there's even more FCS. Like everyone can have a voice in college football. That's what's like. There's no like that, and that's part of what's been so fun about this. Like for Indiana fans, is like we're now a part of the national conversation, and a lot of people don't really like that. But he opened it up to questions. The first question for Kurt Signetti was it was a two-part question. They asked him one about Fernando Mendoza, and then two, how did the success of last season impact the like off season and impact like the vibe around the program. So they basically said like they were aware of Fernando because they had Alberto on campus. Alberto, obviously, as we know, was a JMU commit before he ended up following the staff over to Indiana. He said they watched a lot of tape on Fernando once he hit the portal. It was his size, mobility, quick release, and his intelligence that really stood out. And that's something that the quick release and the arm talent is something that Signetti praised over and over again today.
I love that Signe is just always watching film and just like knows these guys. Like as soon as they hit the portal, like he already knows them. He already knows how they play. He's not just watching Indiana film. He's watching film. He probably watches every game from the past year. I bet money he's watched every single game from the past year at the FBS between two FBS schools. He's watched every single game. I promise. It's insane. And the fact that it seemed like just based on that quote, seems like they were on him really quick. I mean, that just comes from like that was before any sort of 24/7 rating drops or anything like that. He sees in the portal, they're already calling him. And obviously they had his brother, so obviously they're watching film on him. That's a good reason too. But I mean, it's just insane. I'm sure it's with all these guys like Stephen Daly, Hosea Wheeler. Like Wheeler was like the first commitment this past portal, right? He was like the first one they got. He's probably
there
like
was
one of the best players.
I saw Buffton Prime start tweeting about Wheeler. I saw Buffton Prime release like the breakdown with Wheeler of like the film, which like I saw, and then like a week later, it was like he's taking his official visit to Indiana, and then like before he even got there, he was on the team. Like it's like when Brian Haynes and Pat Coons lock in on somebody, like you're coming to Indiana. Like you just don't say no to those guys.
Insane.
Absolutely insane.
No, everything Mendoza, it really, I said it on the show. It really comes down to Mendoza and how good he is. I'm buying stock.
Well, I mean, you're not the only one buying stock after today because it was a Mendoza love fest in the best way possible.
You remember we were talking about this before. Remember his Nicole Auerbach NBC Sports
I'm glad
interview?
you said that because there was also a picture that came out of Signetti sitting across from Nicole Auerbach, and that at least to my knowledge hasn't dropped yet. But like you're about to say, that Fernando Mendoza interview, incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he said like they were at the thing that really got me and how I know for obviously, great kid, super motivated. That really came off in the interview. But the one little thing I noticed was like she asked him, "What do you do for fun?" And the first word out of his mouth was community. Like this guy's a weird, like weirdo alien, like only likes ball. Like I love it. Wouldn't have it any other way as my quarterback. He's like Tebow. Like Tebow is a little weird guy. And like fiery, don't get me wrong, fiery, like run through a brick wall, but like Tebow was not like the kind of the cooler guy we know today. I remember him like he was like an alien back in like just that's all he cared about was like football. I literally don't care about anything else. I don't care. It's insane. That's the vibe he gives off. And yeah, I know. And obviously he's big in the community because that's probably all he does is ball. And then he probably helps out in the community with whatever team he has. I mean, he's
I guess it kind of just makes sense to lump all the Mendoza stuff together.
Yeah,
No, actually, no,
you're
it
driving
doesn't.
the bus. I'm the one kind
There's
of
too many
rambling
different
and,
quotes around here.
you know,
Um,
throwing you off.
the second part of that first question was, how did the success of the season impact change? And he said it helped incredibly with money but like money towards both academics and athletics. It helped tremendously in recruiting. And he said we've got better looking athletes coming through the doors now. So you're still getting high quality, high character kids, but it's just that next level up. And that's something that we've seen happen in real time. And it's nice to hear. Like, he's acknowledging the obvious, obviously, but
It makes me think that like year one is like the ceiling. Like, yeah, 11-1 with a really like
no,
let's
year
call
one's you mean the
the
floor?
floor, the floor, the floor, the floor. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I meant floor. All right. Let's start over. Then we can clip this. we could we can clip this. It makes me think that year one is the floor in terms of what Indiana can be, right? Just the fact that they're only going to get better athletes. The continuity on the coaching staff continues and probably will continue moving forward as Haynes and Shanahan are locked in long term. Really no reason for them to go anywhere unless it's another, honestly, like not even just a power two job, but I don't think they're going to go to Northwestern. You know what I mean? Like
That was Sig also said that the Power Four were circling those guys like sharks, and that's something I wrote about back in January, and I can continue to write about and wrote about when USC tried to go get Derek Owings. Is like, you just can't take these guys anymore.
It's kind of scary, but like I mean, I'll call it how it is. Like probably an easier schedule last year. You know, draw a couple. You know, you mix it up and we draw maybe a USC or a a different collective of teams. Maybe we don't go 11-1. Maybe we go 9-3 at the worst. Worst case. That's how I see this team moving forward. Like 9-3 is really the floor every year for this team. Like I don't see it any other way. I really don't.
Well, yeah. Sig also said, "What's cheap don't last. What lasts ain't cheap." It's all about building it the right way. He talked about a top down
This guy has
approach.
so many. Where's he come up with this stuff? He has so
That's
many.
what I'm
Like
saying.
things.
I was like, I gotta write this down. I wrote it down.
Like,
I might have
I
to
need
write
to
it down
have this on
twice.
my own wall and like wake up every day and read that. Like it's not even about like the football thing. It's like this is how you need to operate. It's crazy.
They asked him about recruiting. I can't remember if this was in the breakout or if this was in like this portion of the questioning, but they asked him about recruiting and he talked about like not being complacent. And so like he said like now they took all the 2024 game day pictures off the wall and things like that. There's no signs of success from last year on any of the walls
Really?
anymore. Yeah.
Really? Yeah. They should keep it like it's Tom Allen era and like not even that. Like let's do
No,
like
just bland walls. That's why,
oh
like, and there was an uproar about the jerseys again this week, and like I am very vocally not a fan of Adidas. I'm not
yeah, we
shy
hate
about my
Adidas.
opinion.
We're an anti-Adidas podcast.
I like the Indiana football jerseys. There, I said it. I'm sorry. They're plain. The
They
color
have a good
contrast is
look.
perfect. Like it's a good look. The cream on the crimson is beautiful. Like it's good. They can be like
It's the
listen,
material quality for me, which will
no,
probably be
I'm with
better
you.
now that they're good, but like
Yeah, I'm with you. But no, I like
it
the
was
jersey
it
color
was better
combos.
last year, I will say. They did look
And I would while I would like the different jersey combos for like a video game perspective, like CFB 26, like I'm cool if they just wear red and white in real life. Like I don't really need anything else.
my only request is if the only alternates they should really do is maybe I've suggested the black helmet throwback. A lot of people don't like those unis. And then
You mean these?
white, yeah, those white
I'm
helmets.
this will be a moment in time, Brad. This hat, I'm telling you.
We're gonna
see
we're
this
gonna break
logo.
those out. We're gonna break out the
We'll
Antoine Randall L's.
We'll see this logo again. Don't worry.
Antoine Randall L's. And then
or if they do like the black script, like the basketball uniforms that the players and recruits.
no, they don't need to do blackout. No, all red or all white.
Only if you're like if they wanted to match I'm saying if they wanted to match the basketball team, like I would appreciate that. Like that would be like, okay, cool, I get.
I love the white pants look, but I think an all red would be kind of cool, like a crimson out, and then like an all white on the roads would be kind of could be fresh. But the all reds would look a lot cooler if they go 2 white stripes on the side, like a Shelby. They got it on the helmet and then on the pants. That's a good look. It's a good look. I'm just telling you. Maybe Jumpman can get us there. Who knows? But
One
we're locked
piece,
in with
right?
Adidas for what, like 10 years? So
2034.
man, chrome helmets, they're okay. I actually put on my freshman orientation, I put on one of those chrome helmets.
Yeah, I actually have a picture of me in the. Hold on, I'll try and find it because I think I know where it is. But no, listen, Indiana had a bunch of really cool like color combinations and helmets, especially like early Tom Allen or late Kevin Wilson. But they were so bad for so long that all of those kind of got scrapped. Let's see. Can people see these?
I don't know. I mean, we don't need to go. I feel like the chromes were cool, but it's a little gimmicky these days. I feel like
That was the one with the red, white, and blue with like the Indiana on the side.
the only thing you could sell me on is a throwback and maybe an all. I've been thinking about the all black a little bit. It could be there's potential there, but I don't think they need to do that. I think they have a really clean look.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have a brand too, you know.
Signetti talked about a top-down approach, saying you can't have enough leaders in the room. Outside of the three guys that were at media day, he talked about Pat Coogan, Carter Smith as two specific guys that he could see stepping up. Talked about Coogan a lot, actually, not just in this portion. But he also mentioned there's 10 to 12 guys on the team that could be considered like really good leaders, with like room for there to be more. And he said you win with people. There's no warm fuzzies. Like you're there to work every day.
Love it. I mean, that's as expected, right? I don't know. They're like, yeah, I feel like we've heard this before.
Yeah, well, it's like Signetti and Power, and like this is something Aiden Fisher said, and this is something Signetti said, and this is repeated over and over again. Like Signetti empowers his staff empower the players, and it's just that's how it works. Obviously, somebody was going to ask him about the schedule. We got somebody. I said some things out loud. I'll keep to myself when the Virginia question was asked, but we got an excellent response from Signetti. The quote, and I said this in response to B-Town Bucket Boy, who's like, if you actually listen to Sig's answer, it wasn't just the jab at the SEC. He actually like gave like a full blown like solution with reasoning. But he said,
that's what I said on the Mark Rogers. I was like, yeah, because I'm gonna go with Sig and call it the SEC, but I will say that he did give a full on solution of standardizing scheduling with with the power conferences at least,
But Sig said it got us an extra home game. He then gave the whole spiel, which I wish I pulled the exact numbers, but they're not even relevant. It was like 12 of 16 Big 10 or Big SEC teams played, 25 Power 5 teams, and 7 FCS or whatever the number ended up being. But basically, he rounded that out by saying we just adopted the SEC scheduling philosophy, which was hilarious. And then he said that their focus is on the 9 conference games. He also said he's not opposed to a Big 10 SEC challenge. And he said that there needs to be like a scheduling structure, some sort of standardized scheduling across the country, across the conferences. And this wouldn't be a conversation.
I would kind of like the SEC challenge. Like every other year we go to a different SEC college town. It could be really fun. Yeah, Pitt's talking about how the kid from Locked On Big Ten or Locked On College Football. Oh, asked about the Virginia game. Oh, made a whole podcast. I don't know what his problem is. Jesus Christ.
He's
an Oregon fan, so yeah, we'll just pick up our quality win at Eugene this year and just call it a day. And then they'll come back and say Oregon's on a down year. They aren't as good. They're 8-4 or whatever. It's like, okay. When do we win? Because you beat a team and then their record gets worse, and it's a stupid metric anyways. And what's even the point of winning games anymore if we're just going to talk about strength of schedule the whole time?
Why even play the games if you could just look at recruiting rankings? Because then you'll know who's going to be good. Kurt Signetti was asked what the theme of this year is, or if there was a theme.
Remember when Tom Allen had a theme?
Yeah, no, it was like word of the year. I was all about that.
Whole graphic for it. Jesus Christ!
Oh
no, it's fast, physical, relentless. Every single play, like every single minute, every single time you breathe. Fast, physical, relentless. It's not like a word of the month.
the social media,
Anyways,
and it's obviously continued, but the social media, and I've said this over and over again, since Signetti took over, is just seen a drastic uptick in quality. We got a bunch of those, like we got the pictures of like Aiden Fisher and Mikal Kamara and those guys like in the like get up for media day, but we also got like pictures from this past week of like Elijah Hardy and Jamari Sharp, and like they just constantly do a good job of making this team look the way that like they look sick. It's awesome to see as a fan base. It really is.
because they are sick. They're going to be a
Um,
great squad this year. I'm super pumped to watch them play football. Period.
he said the theme
40
is
days
humble.
away, Keezer. 40 days.
The theme is humble and hungry versus noise and clutter. And he said specifically, I'm good at two things. I'm good at keeping the main thing, and being a watchdog for complacency and stomping it out.
The main thing. He talks like a G, this guy. Keeping the main thing, and he stomps out complacency. I mean,
he's a watchdog for complacency.
Where does he come up with this shit, man? Watchdog for complacency. He's a dork. All right. Yeah, nice.
They were asked, this was a very loaded question
so
that I don't even realize what the answer was, but Signetti kind of like took in the question, thunk for a second, and then answered it the best he could. But he was asked about like, I think they were trying to ask him how much money he spends on his roster without actually saying it, or what his goal, or if the like trying to dig at some sort of like NIL angle for Indiana. And he said the goal is to be the best, but in all actuality, the goal is to be in the top third of the conference in terms of resources. And if you give Curt Signetti a top third budget in the Big Ten, like he's not going to lose many recruiting battles. Like they're going to go get the guys they want and build really good rosters.
They're going to be top third in the conference every year if they do that. Period.
Yep. Completely agree.
If they do that. I have a hard time. Like, all right, third. Let's do a breakdown. Big Ten. Like, who do we have to outspend to be top third? That means we have to outspend 12 teams. So Penn State's going to be in that. Ohio State, Oregon.
It's a lot easier to go. Who USC, are they?
Michigan.
Well, here, let me pause you. It's a lot easier to be like, okay, who are they currently not outspending, or at least like who, like, because we know Ohio State's spending 40, 50, 60 million. Yeah. Oregon's spending 40, Michigan. 50, 60. Michigan's up there with spending. Nebraska's up there with spending. I'm sure Penn State's spending, obviously. I'm sure Washington's spending.
UCLA's working.
Minnesota's not cheap. USC is spending a shitload.
I'm sure Wisconsin's paying some money. The only team that really doesn't pay around here is Northwestern, and that's like I'm cool with that.
But it's like we know they're spending more, or like they have more resources than Purdue, than Maryland, than, like you said, Northwestern.
I'm saying that's the like, six that they have to be in, because there is no world they have to outspend Nebraska basically for that sixth spot. Nebraska might even be, they might spend more than a Michigan. It's hard to convince me just based on results that Nebraska spends more than Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, USC. It's hard to convince me they do that. So we just got,
and Iowa's not really spending.
Well, we just outspent everyone in the Big Ten. Why don't we just do that?
Listen, we could, like Signetti mentioned this too. Like Indiana is the second largest, and this is something that Coach Pundit has said on this show over and over again. Second largest living alumni base in the country. Now he put another school in front of it. Texas is the only one bigger. And Signetti actually pointed out there was a lot of Hoosier pride in this past season, which is very nice to hear.
That's good. I think that means money. I think that means money was spent. Money was sent over to the school, which is great. We're gonna, let's just keep it up.
We then got Curt Signetti at the desk. They talked about what it's like being like now having the target on your back, and his response was basically like, everyone keeps talking about us being the hunted now. Like, why can't we do the hunting? And he's right. Like, they are a team that's hunting this year. Like, everyone can look at them and be like, yeah, we want to take those guys out, but they didn't accomplish their goal last year. They don't view themselves as like this ultimate, like they're chasing something.
Yeah. They haven't done anything. Because remember, Fisher was at, I always say seniors need to go, but Fisher was the team captain last year. So he went to media day, and he said without even like stuttering, he was like, yeah, we're planning on playing like 14, 15, 16 games this year. Like straight face. Like, so serious.
So
Like,
baller.
everyone's like, they're coming off a 3-9 year. Oh, new coach. He's like, yeah, we're going to the playoff. It's like dead ass. Like, yeah, we're going. Like, it's just about how many games we play in the playoff, really. It's really all I
And he's
care
right.
about.
Guess what?
We're
He was
gonna-
right.
he was right. They lost a tiebreaker to not go to the Big Ten title game, and and they ended up drawing Notre Dame on the road in the playoff, which kind of stinks because Notre Dame's usually good and tough to play at home. So, I think they're in a good spot, all things considered. Obviously, they didn't accomplish what they set out to do, but they were close and they kept their word. For the as far as I'm concerned, probably not to themselves, but at least to what they're telling us they're going to do.
What's John saying here? Keep the main thing. The main thing came from Romans 14 and Steve Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Love that. Appreciate the info, John. You're going to learn something. One way or another, you're going to learn something on this show, whether it's from Brad and I or it's from John. You're going to learn something.
I learn so much from John every day. I do.
Every show he teaches me something. Kurt Signetti was asked specifically about Aiden Fisher, called him a leader and called him basically like the number one leader on this football team, which you can see by the way the players respond to him, by the way the fan base responds to him, by the way the coaching staff respects him. He's about as good as it gets in terms of like who you want to represent your program. He was asked about Fernando Mendoza again. He said he was good, can make all the throws, make them fast, and he's athletic. He said there are a lot of times where play broke down at the end of spring practice, and he's 25 yards down the field. But he talked about his ability to make all the throws, make them from different arm angles, process quickly, and repeat it over and over again. That his last 5 spring practices were awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited for Fernando Mendoza. I just want to watch Fernando Mendoza turn into a machine that catches snap balls and turn them into touchdowns. But this time he's going to do it in a lot cooler way. It's going to be so fun because you remember, I think one thing I did say on the Mark Rogers show was it really does come down to how good Fernando Mendoza is, because there were times like other than, I called out Notre Dame, the 10 quarters, which were the second half of Michigan, the Ohio State game, and the Notre Dame game. Those are the only times. If you take that all away, Rourke was perfect, but the offense did stall at times. And is Mendoza the guy? People describe him as a gamer. He has these athletic tools. He has this intelligence to him and this maturity to him that you really shouldn't have at his age. It's very alien-like we mentioned before on the show. That just makes you think, is he the guy to get you through that? You get 3 and out against Notre Dame. Is that going to continue, or are you going to be able to drive the ball down the field? And the dude's able to move chains, and he's a gamer. Like we all watched the Miami game last year, and that's with a much worse O-line, much worse weapons. He's able to put 35 on that perennial playoff team, and potential playoff team, that is, if they didn't drop a bad loss toward the end there. And yeah, insane. They should have won that game, by the way. Cal. Didn't they get absolutely robbed in that Miami game? Pretty sure.
I know the atmosphere was absolutely crazy, and it came down to like the last possession or whatever it was. I'm sorry if the dogs are just losing their minds in the background here. I try and mute when I'm not.
I can barely hear him.
Okay, that's good. Signetti went on to make a point about staff continuity. Talked about Mike Shanahan, Brian Haynes being with him for 10 plus years. Talked about Derek Owens. I think now this is like 6 or 7. Talked about Grant Kane being around for a long time as well. And that staff continuity, and like we've talked about on this specific show, on this show multiple times this year, like the fact that they were able to keep all those assistants, and we know Tino Sinceri ended up taking the promotion and taking the offensive coordinator job at UCLA, but to keep Brian Haynes, to keep Mike Shanahan in those leadership positions, just an insanely massive deal.
Yeah, to keep everyone after a season like that is unheard of.
Absolutely unheard of.
Here's and like how many guys of Arizona State's left. Like
we speculated,
staff or
like teams came calling. They got stiff armed. He was asked about what they saw in Lee Beebe that made the Hoosiers target him in the transfer portal. He said Beebe was hard to tackle. very hard to tackle. Said it like 2 or 3 times. I said he always falls forward. Takes contact, falls forward. Obviously huge for a running back. And then he said, like, ever since he's been on campus, the guy's a worker. They actually have to slow him down in the weight room. Like he said, sometimes more isn't always more, and they have to stop him.
Yeah. Yeah, that stable running backs. It's pretty interesting. Lee Beebe. You think it's gonna be? I've been thinking it's gonna be Hemby and it's gonna be real curious. It's gonna be hot hand. It's gonna be like Roman Hemby is not the clear number one, which is kind of crazy to say. He's been the clear number one on the team that he left for years. Now he's just it's like you remember, Penn State had a couple of good backs, and they still do this year. They're loaded. Ohio State had that good. You need 2 really good backs to go far. Notre Dame had 2 really good backs.
You need at least 2 really good backs.
At least 2, because you're gonna face bumps and bruises throughout the season. So, I mean, having that stable, which is a huge upgrade, I think it needs to be addressed more. The fact that we have 3 legit guys that can get snaps this upcoming year. Obviously, we had the Black injury, and Elijah Green wasn't, for whatever reason, fitting in a little bit, except for garbage time. It just, having 3 legit guys, and hopefully we're all able to stay healthy will be huge this upcoming year.
That is right, SoCal Hot Sauce. He did mention Lee Beebe has great hands as well.
Best catcher on the team despite being the power back. It's kind of...
Yeah, he said he doesn't necessarily have 4.4 speed. He kind of like leaned. He's like, isn't necessarily 4.4 speed, but great hands, does a lot of the little things really well, which is obviously what Indiana likes about players. Of the offensive line, he said, quote, "We will be better." It's a bold statement from Curt Signetti. He went on to expand kind of in his breakout. We'll get to it in a little bit.
That was about who?
The offensive line.
Okay.
They asked him where his confidence.
That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
We need that.
They asked him about where his confidence came from. He said I was like trying to read my own writing here. He said he studied leadership early because he wasn't doing very well at it. He said he read a bunch of different books, and I'm sure that Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is probably one of them. He didn't necessarily go into the specific books he read, but he did say that because he wasn't very good early in his season or early in his coaching career, that he did study leadership, which makes sense. And then he said a leader should know the way, go the way, and show the way. And so that's kind of he acts the way he wants his team to act.
Yeah. Confident, knowing that they're going to win, every time. They are a top 10 team, which makes them a championship contender.
Signetti was asked about recruiting this season versus last season. He said last season they were selling a dream. This season they were selling reality. You're able to put what your vision on the field and show people what it's actually going to look like. And that does wonders for like how you're able to then sell the program to people. And then like he repeated that, better looking athletes with high character coming through that door, which is music to our ears.
Beautiful. I mean, we already knew this. We've been covering recruiting and
if you've been following along, that, but it's nice to hear him say these things out loud. It's like, you think you that's what you're looking at from afar. And then it's like, that's confirmed. It's like, yeah, it's awesome.
20 or so portal classes might be no more. Maybe, we'll hover around,
which is a good thing,
15 to 20 next year, and then probably down to 10 the next. It'll be, it's just depending on how things go. Obviously, that's just the schedule.
It's better to take smaller classes because it means your depth is coming from within, which is where ultimately where you want to be.
They took some young transfers. They brought in Knighton, they brought in Beebe, they brought in Gandy. They're all guys that are coming back next year. It's huge.
Yep. They asked Sig what gives him the most satisfaction, and he said beating somebody's ass and then singing the song in the locker room after.
Yeah.
This was absolutely song? Incredible. Yeah.
He loves that.
They asked him what lessons he took away from last season. The only thing he said was, we got to get better up front.
It's true. And they did.
And then they asked him if he had ever heard one of has Pat Coogan given a like rah fire up speech yet that he's heard, and he said no, because he's a transfer. He's hesitant to put him into those leadership positions, but he's heard that over the summer through the spring, like he's earned the right to be in those leadership roles, and he anticipates Coogan being in a leadership position this fall, which is where we anticipated him being as well. But again, just another one of those things you like hearing out loud from the head coach.
I called that out. It takes time. These guys aren't going to come in right away and figure things out. It'd be, it's funny because he did bring several transfers to media day this year. This year, obviously, didn't bring any transfers. They were former transfers. They were Hoosiers last year. But yeah, I mean, it just takes time to find it in. Obviously, Mendoza as the quarterback, he kind of has an in. But, being on the O-line that has Carter Smith, has Drew Evans, has Bray Lynch, not as easy to kind of get buy-in from those guys. Kind of need to show it first.
Got to earn. It's all earned. It's all earned. We then got Fisher, Surratt, and Kamara on the desk with Big Ten Network. They first asked the guys about Mendoza. Surratt said he's his fourth quarterback, so he understands, the bumps and bruises that those early relationships have. He said he loves the way the guy throws the ball, and he's a switch-on type competitor. Like once he gets in the field, he flips the switch. Fisher echoed that. He said Mendoza's phenomenal. He's a competitor. Kid lives in the facility, and he said he probably knows the offense well enough to teach it to other people.
Kid lives in the facility. Of course he does. His favorite thing to do is community. It's his favorite thing to do is community.
Outside of football, he's like, I don't do anything outside of football.
That's basically him saying, I don't do anything besides football. I don't do that. I don't do that. I do community.
What do you mean off the field? I recover and I eat and I sleep.
I recover and I text my friends and if I have any, and like I'm gonna, he texts his teammates probably. Like those are his best friends. Like it doesn't. I mean, what's awesome about playing football is that you have like 80 best friends that are like on the team. That's like one of the cool things about the sport. It's not just like, oh, you have a team of like 15 or 20 or whatever. It's like a team of like 60 people that you're all pretty like close with, which is a fun time. It's so I can see why Mendoza is like that. And it makes it easy. Like it's actually one of those sports where it's easy to not get distracted. You kind of just get lost in your drive of football and trying to get better. And I think Signetti likes to bring in guys like that. And I don't have boots on the ground, but I remember the days and yeah.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Was I glitching?
No, there was like a long pause there. I didn't know if you were done with a thought or if you were continuing.
Well, I don't have boots on the ground, but I remember the days when I would see the entire D-line group in the Tom Allen days at the jungle upstairs at sports. It's like, don't you guys have like workouts tomorrow? Like I'm just here. I'm graduating. Like I don't have homework. Like,
yeah, actually, I do remember that. That's funny.
Yeah, I remember those days. They take up a whole table. They get tables.
They get tables. Working out later.
Yeah, they get tables and like that. I mean, you're allowed to have fun.
It's college. Go do your thing, right?
Right. But I felt like I saw them a little too much. It's kind of the energy I was getting.
The other thing Fisher said about Mendoza is that he has unlimited potential.
I mean, linebackers know quarterbacks pretty well.
That's what I'm saying. They go to bat
head to head every day. Those two.
He's saying they chirp. They chirp
Mendoza test match.
The next question was who talks the most trash on the field? Do you have a guess?
Oh, I want to know. Okay, let me hold on. Let me look at
the answer was unanimous.
Unanimous.
Not even a second thought before the question was finished. Both Kamara and I can't even. All the guys had the same unanimous answer.
It's either Kamara, Surratt, Fisher. Farrell.
Kamara, Surratt, Fisher all said the same guy.
It's either Pons or Amari Farrell.
It's neither of those two.
Oh, really?
It was an emphatic Aiden Fisher.
Oh, really? Emphatic. Yeah. Okay. Because I didn't think it was going to be one of the guys there, to be honest.
It's Aiden Fisher, which I love that so much. I love it so much.
He's
and it's part of like to bring Byron Baldwin Jr. up. I feel like I'm obligated to bring him up once an episode, but that's one of the things that he said. It being chippy and talking and all is just part of his game as a defensive back, and it's like
You want that.
yeah, you want that.
Jalen Ramsey was always one of my favorite players because he got AJ Green to swing at him. And AJ Green's like known for not talking or not getting into the trash talk or anything like that. He got him to swing. And having a guy like that, like Fisher, I kind of like that, you know. Wonder what names he's got for Altmaier.
They then asked the guys about their belief in Signetti and where that comes from. And Surratt started off by saying like Signetti instilled in them that like when you work and you do the things we tell you to do, it produces wins. And it's not just the Signetti and the staff saying it. It's like, no, it's actually on paper. Like, look, you do these things, we're going to have successful seasons. So that immediately creates buy-in. Kamara talked about the standard being the standard. And there's like, if you're going to lift, if you're going to watch film, if you're going to recover, if you're at practice, obviously, like it's just, you're doing everything at a high level or you're not doing it at all. It's a wasted motion. And then Fisher talked about Signetti's attitude being contagious and just that, like, and we could feel it as a fan base. Like when I literally had I had chills before he took the podium because I just knew he's going to say something that like fired me up as an Indiana fan. It's like that's insane.
Yeah, he's it's amazing because I think he's had to kind of learn that, you know, over time and being able, like you mentioned, how he had to basically learn leadership. Like I don't think that bravado came naturally, and you know he's definitely worked at it, and you know it's probably why he wasn't finding success as a coach early on. He, you know, figured it out, you know, and he is what he is today. It's pretty amazing how calculated he is about all that stuff.
Kamara was asked kind of what was the turning point for him when he realized he can kind of like play at this level. He talked about the Maryland game. That was something that he kind of had circled. And based on the way he played in that game, it gave him the confidence that he can compete. He said playing against Maryland, playing against Nebraska, like these are supposed to be, you know, those bigger athletes that everybody talks about the difference between the levels being. Surratt also pointed out the Maryland game as being a turning point for the fan base as well. And he also mentioned the weather. If you remember back to Roman Hemby's spring press conference, Hemby talked about that game as being a catalyst for why he ultimately decided to go to Indiana because it was a cold, rainy, terrible environment and the fan base was there the entire game. They were allowed. It makes a complete difference. But Aiden Fisher had the quote saying that the fans are finally getting the winner they deserve. How do you not love this guy? Kamara said that Signetti makes the whole program better. He has turned Bloomington into a destination. And obviously, like me and you went to school there. A lot of the people listening to the show are either, you know, alumni or in school there or like visit frequently. You know what I mean? Like have this connection to Bloomington and we understand how special it is. And like to anybody there, it's how can you not sell this destination and make this a competitive football program? And Curt Signetti has completely unlocked that. It's like this place should be an easy sell. Bloomington's awesome. It's not hard to sell somebody on Bloomington. You just got to get them there.
It's a great place to kind of just lock in and, you know, because there's enough fun things to do, but it's not too fun, you know, but there's, you know, it's definitely too fun, but, you know, there's enough things to do and also, you know, just strictly enjoy like the whole like north of 17th Street where that's really just kind of away from everything. And obviously you go to class but you can kind of just stay. They live in those houses and they walk to the facilities and it's just a very easy routine to get into and, you know, fully lock in as you try to like pursue your dreams as becoming whatever it is, winning national title, going to the league, being all conference, starting during your college career, something, whatever your goals may be, it's the best place to do it.
They asked the guys what they learned from the Notre Dame game. Aiden Fisher started off. He said, kind of scheme wise, player wise, they learned some things they weren't able to do. And it was a great learning experience. And he talked about, you know, losing sucks and nobody ever wants to go through that, but they were able to take things away from that. And he said as soon as the game ended, he was anxious to watch the film. And immediately Mikal Kamara was like, same, like me too, which like is that's what these dudes were thinking about walking off the field is like, I need to watch this game film to see what went wrong, to see how we can immediately improve. And Kamara said that's basically the main reason why he came back. He said the goal is to win a championship. And and that was like he just it left such a bad taste in his mouth that he had
He's
to come
gonna
back.
kill people. He's gonna like he shouldn't be. He's too
He's
good.
eating
to be
40
playing
ounce
college
steaks,
football.
Brad.
He's a grown man. I'm trying to think who's the best. He is by far the best D lineman in the conference. Like I know there's all this Zane Durant, Aaron Graves, Gabe Jacobs. Like Kamara shouldn't even be here. Like he should be in the league. Like he's supposed to be in the league right now. He's supposed to be getting ready for training camp. And here he is in Vegas going to big time media. He's probably, besides the guy Jeremiah Smith, probably the best player in the conference. Yeah. It goes Jeremiah Smith and Mikel Kamara. This guy is going to kill people. Jesus. He's going to break the sack record. I swear.
It is just the fact that, I'll repeat myself, the fact that these dudes just lost the biggest football game of their life, and the first thought was not "woe is me," it's I need to watch this again and figure out what went wrong so I can get better.
Lunatic.
Oh, I got butterflies, Brad. I got butterflies.
There's a reason why they went 11-1 their first year. Like let's just not forget that. Like, the year two jump. The year two jump. Is it natty? Is it natty?
Everybody's talking about
you're getting me to think it's actually natty because this is how they're like. This is a little different than how they were talking last year. It's a little bit different.
It's confident. Everybody's talking about the year 3 jump for Matt Rule.
They were confident last year, but this is like a new we did it. We're here to return. We got unfinished business type deal instead of we're here to prove ourselves. We're gonna make some noise. We're gonna go to the Big Ten championship game. We got unfinished business that we need to attend to.
Everybody's talking about the year 3 jump for Matt Rule in Nebraska, and it's like Signetti proved Indiana's better than them already, and he's going into year 2. And guess what? Nobody's talking about the year 2 jump for an Indiana program.
Yeah, insane. They're going to be so much better than they were last year.
They were talking about Aiden Fisher, Mikel Kamara, and Elijah Surratt's dogs. Fish has this little fluffy dog. Kamara's got a King Corso, which that actually plays. That's insanely hilarious and plays. And just a vicious dude, vicious dog. I'm sure the Mikel Kamara's King Corso attacks the quarterback the same way he does. It's like rip around the edge. It's like, you think he's got eligibility actually?
Maybe.
Another Kamara? That'd be insane. And Elijah Surratt's got an American bully. And Surratt said that his dog, he still hasn't heard his dog bark yet. He said Omar Cooper will come over and literally pick up his dog and bring him upstairs and not a peep, to the point where he's looking around his room where the hell did my dog go? That's hilarious. It's just cool to hear those little stories of the guys actually being friends. To your point, is a football team with good chemistry. Those guys hang out with each other.
Yeah.
These guys hang out with each other. It's cool stuff.
Special group. I'm really excited for these kids and in the pursuit of something really special. And they're going to make a lot of noise again. And there's going to be a lot more doubters, and they're going to continue doubting them basically until they win a national title, which is kind of a good thing, right? It's kind of we're not going to be that's the best way. Cause if it's any other school and they're they're 14-0 and they're in the national title game or whatever, and it's not Indiana, it's oh yeah, they're destined. They're going to pull it off. It's Indiana. It's they're going to, they're going to fall short. It's Indiana. There's no way. Here they are. They're always going to have that. No one's going to tell them they're good until they're at the top, really, is what's going to, until they win the Big Ten or win the national title. That's what's going to happen. They're going to continue to be doubted. And that's only fuel to the fire for guys like the type of guys Sig brings in. And I mean, they're just loaded. People don't realize how much star power they have on that team. Who else brought 3 preseason All-Americans to their media day?
Well,
Ohio State, maybe Penn State.
Nobody's generating the buzz that this Indiana team is generating, and that's kind of to our point. Is everybody wants to talk about this Indiana back to irrelevance and back to where, and it's nobody could. They can't keep Indiana's name out of their mouths. It's every 35 seconds, I got somebody in my reply, somebody on Twitter's doing this or something, or somebody's got a Signetti take, or here's a face cam video at Kurt Signetti. Here's my SEC take that doesn't matter type of deal. Like all of that stuff is like, it's none of that gets through to Signetti. He's not seeing any of it. Like it's just, what a rise, man. What a rise. It's insane. The last thing they asked the fellas at the desk was say something like compliment each other. So Surratt said he like respects the way they carry themselves, their work ethic. Kamara talked about the leadership that he's watched those guys grow into, specifically Aiden Fisher from literally not even playing to being like a legendary linebacker, and Surratt, from being this Division II kid coming into JMU to now Waffle House. And Fish talked about the work ethic of both guys and talked about how they bring, people with them as well. And that's like, obviously you can tell by the way Surratt carries himself, but like I've seen, like we saw that we got the Mikal Kamara workout video the other day, and there was 4 or 5 Indiana defensive linemen in there. So, but yeah, I tweeted this out. It's just, if you couldn't pick 3 better program representations than these 3 guys. Now, like, were there other guys that would have went and represented the program beautifully? Yes. Are there a bunch of guys that are highly capable of that? Absolutely. But when you talk about this Indiana football team, obviously you're going to throw D'Angelo Pons in there as well with these 3 guys. But with Pons not being a senior, there you go.
It's easy tiebreaker. Easy.
Yeah. That is the tiebreaker. But shout out to those guys. They obviously did a great job. They were dripped out, carry themselves with class, represent the program beautifully, and
like the looks. Yeah,
they're just like it.
Good kids. Yeah. Those kids,
Like I didn't have anything specific that I like wanted those guys to be asked, but I enjoy the fact that like the rest of the country gets to meet these kids on a slightly different level. Like I caught a little bit of the Maryland players at the desk, and I was just like, I like the 3 guys that Maryland brought. I don't remember who they were, but they were just like, good kids, well-spoken, talking about like being airplane pilots and like playing the piano and stuff like that. It's just like, you almost forget that all of these kids are humans and they're good kids and they're like doing things the right way, or most of them anyway. And so I like media day for that aspect of like the rest of the country gets to kind of see the guys that, you get to fall in love with.
Yeah. No, I love seeing the personalities of the players outside of the helmets and kind of seeing them for people a little bit. I think that's why we like the interviews with like Mendoza and the press conferences so much, because you actually get to, there's not much light on these college players as, you'd think, despite all the money being thrown around. You really don't see these guys until it's on Saturday. So it's
highly protected. The media access to college programs is highly protected, which is why you have, I don't want to get into this conversation now because it's really not relevant, but it's like,
as it should
and
be.
it's not a bad thing. It absolutely should be. Like these are just kids. Like you need to, and not that they're not mature and stuff, but you need to learn how to deal with the press and how your words can be aggregated and kind of different cues and stuff that typical media tries to pry for to create a story. And if you're not prepared for that, like you can say something thinking you're just making an innocent comment, and you look up and you're all over ESPN for 3 days. You know what I mean? So
yeah. John says they need to wear dress shoes with suits, not tennis shoes. Shut up, John. It's 2025. People wear the J's and the Nikes with the suits now.
I'm only with John. I'm only with John because it's Adidas shoes, and I dislike the brand. So I'm with you, John.
True.
If they were Jordans though, or Nikes, or Under Armour, or who's making shoes these days, I don't really know. But Brooks, maybe Asics, Puma, New Balance. Now, and like I said before, the last kind of thing we got from Kurt Signetti was the official like media breakout where he sits at like the table and takes questions from the media. I didn't catch that, like I said, because I was watching Brad's appearance on the Big Ten show on the Voice of College Football. But again, shout out to Michael Niziolik. He had all the quotes tweeted out, so I got them written down in front of me. Drew Evans is cleared.
Love it. Yeah,
they're gonna manage him going into fall camp.
We heard rumblings, but it's good to hear it this close to camp that it's happening, and he's full go as of today. That's good.
Yeah, they're gonna manage him going into camp, but
get some reps to Ajani and Benson maybe, because Benson might have to step in there at times.
Yeah, well, Benson too. Benson will be healthy. Sig mentioned that because he had worked at right tackle with Bosted before, that might be the position they start him at. But they also want to keep like the options open and keep flexibility open, like you've been talking about, as maybe a swing tackle or a swing guard. So
He
Khalil
can play
Benson's,
all four. He can play
he
all
really
four.
could play all four. And so he's probably somebody that, or not probably, he's going to be somebody that whose position is going to be determined in fall camp.
Yeah, he's a very valuable asset in the sense that he's versatile. He can play different positions, very similar to Matthew Bedford. They were both put in a very weird spots. They were moving around all the time back in the Tom Allen days. And Benson brings that versatility. Obviously, Bedford, we're going to see him in Eugene this year. But yeah, like I've been saying, Benson's going to be the swing kind of tackle, unless he could beat out Mikowski straight up. We'll see how that goes. Mikowski did get all the spring reps, which is good for him, but Benson
It's
has
all earned.
Yeah. I personally have Benson projected as our backup sixth O lineman.
Signetti talked about being the GM and the head ball coach of the football program. He said he's a control freak and he's in control. So I know I've openly been speculating that Indiana would probably add somebody to that position, but if Signetti is just going to be on top of it, I'm fine with that. I trust that guy, obviously. So interesting nugget, though.
Yeah, sorry. He's on top of it. It's good. That's why we don't have a GM position. I like it when it's Signetti. He was a recruiting director himself before GMs were even a thing. He probably knows more than any GM will ever do. He adds enough value in a sense, and yeah, it's at a point where we don't really need one, to be honest.
Well, they have a director of player ops.
Sig is the best evaluator on the staff. It's not. It's going to be really hard to beat that.
But they have a director of player ops guy. Like they have Derek Owings, who's on the staff also, and so it's like he's not just making all of these decisions by himself, but he is the final say. So it does make sense that he's not bringing in somebody to come over the top of him. But listen, if we can turn Signetti into a cyborg or something, and maybe he could just manage the top down forever. He could just be the GM.
When he steps down from college from head coach, he'll likely be involved in some evaluation capacity, at least, when he will be the AD of football, right? Which is usually what you do to your coach that wins you a couple titles over the past 10 years. I imagine he'll oversee evaluation and bringing kids in and recruiting, because that's kind of his bread and butter, at least at the power level. So he'll totally be involved. Like he'll be around the program. Let's just say that.
Yeah, this is years down the road after multiple national championships.
Oh yeah, so we're not there yet.
We got the Barry Odom quote. I like Barry Odom. Didn't think of it much. That would be an understatement. Didn't think of it at all, really. Kurt Signetti is so great at controlling the narrative. It's like, okay, what is the narrative coming out of this little Barry Odom saga? It's like Barry takes his like tongue-in-cheek shot, right? Mm-hmm. Kurt Signetti goes, I didn't think about it once. I don't even care. It's dead on the vine. That's it. Like there is no you're not talking about little brother, just like flick, see you later. Like who cares? I don't even, your opinion is irrelevant.
Flicker of a thought.
He's like, oh cool. I like Barry Odom. Boom. Like see you later, buddy.
Pretty gangster of Signetti, I might ask.
Yep. There were two different quotes about this, but there was confirmed now from Signetti reports of somebody trying to tamper with Indiana players. Someone offered $1.5 million to an unnamed player who wasn't in the portal. And Signetti is quoted as saying, we didn't lose anybody we wanted to keep 100%. Which is something we've been saying for months.
Poor Jameer Johnson. Why you gotta do him like that? He's the only starter that left in the portal. And we really addressed his position with Jamari Sharp and then now Gandy Knighton. I mean,
they brought in Gandy and Knighton before he left.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
business, man.
Speaking of Jamari Sharp is the leader for the cornerback one spot. Shout out to our guy, Jamie Jordan. Hoosier Huddle's Jamie Jordan, exclusively on Hoosier Huddle's Jamie Jordan, who was telling us this back before the spring game that Jamari Sharp was the guy. Jamari Sharp is the guy going into camp. Knight in his back, too, from an undisclosed injury. And he'll be competing for a spot, obviously, there.
Yeah, imagine we're all healthy going into fall.
I mean, Gandy was on crutches too, so I'm actually kind of surprised nobody asked about Gandy either.
I think we'll be fine. We'll be okay.
Yeah. I think my favorite quote from the entire session was that they asked Signetti, I think, like whether he had plans to renovate the stadium or not, and he said, "Before I retire, that press box is coming down." And he did make a point to say that nothing. He said nothing's going to happen during the season. Obviously, the focus is on playing games, but in the off season, like it would make sense to look at upgrades for Memorial Stadium, which is again something the fan base has been openly talking about for a really long time. And now you have a team worthy of making those upgrades. Like, yeah, it's time to go do that. But the press box has to come down.
Can't do that at Florida.
Retire.
Can't do that at Name an SEC school. Can't
name a school. Like, I mean, it's hard to have the level of like this is essentially like build a college for Curt Signetti. Like he's getting to redesign the entire football apparatus of Indiana.
He's playing NCAA Dynasty is what he's doing.
It's deeper than that though. He gets to control everything.
Yeah, he has more control than NCAA Dynasty. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, I would hope so too.
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah.
But that, and I believe we're also due for Surratt, Kamara, Fisher breakout. I just haven't seen the quotes pop up yet. I've had Twitter open. So obviously when we get those throughout the week, I'll take those down. We'll talk about them next week. But that's all I got for Media Day, Brad. If you want any closing thoughts on Media Day before we kind of close up with the Jameson Purcell talk.
No, I'm good on Media Day. It was a good showing from the fellas, and they were looking sharp. And yeah, time to talk about old Jamie Purcell, little southpaw, little Illinois kid, little Maine South kid, looking right at the stadium right now. I remember seeing I think a big thing to talk about was like that clip of him and Jacob Bell where they combined for about 900 yards and 10 touchdowns.
That was sick.
That's pretty good high level quarterback play in a high school game. Both those guys are going to Indiana.
Yeah, Jacob Bell is in the Indiana quarterback room as we speak, and obviously Jameson Purcell, class of 2027, won't be there for a couple years. But like, I mean, holy shit, dude! Like, class of 2027, are you kidding me? Like, I know we were talking about like that starting soon, and like, you know, like we were talking about Showtime sales, and like he's not close to making his decision yet. But it's like you start to speculate about what could be as you see, like Signetti was saying, the level of athlete increase and come through the door at Indiana. To start off your class with the most important position on the field and to have it be a kid as highly touted as that, unbelievably impressive. Unbelievably impressive.
Yeah, it's exciting for what many are anticipating, including us, a very program-altering 2027 class. Bringing in a kid that's listed on 24/7 right now as a 3-star. He's going to be he's a 4-star on Rivals right now. He's probably going to be a riser as time goes on. And as the Indiana quarterback evaluation, as soon as people get hip to what's going on at that position for them, he's going to be a big riser and a big reason why they bring in a lot of very talented offensive skill guys in this upcoming class, which is definitely something to look out for because, yes, they've gotten to a point where they could probably compete, but in the trenches, it's still going to take time. That's just going to take time. They can get better now on the outside in the 2027 class, which is going to be huge because, they're pretty old at that level. So there's a lot of opportunity to come in as a younger guy and play right away for them. Obviously, they're going to do things in the portal year in and year out, but, it's setting the stage for something really special. Stacking years, stacking months, stacking weeks, stacking days.
And I want to shout out Coach Chandler Whitmer, and because it's funny. One of the nitpicks me and you have had about the Indiana program was that it took a while for them to recruit quarterback in the class of 2026. And one of the first things that Coach Whitmer did when he was officially hired at Indiana was host Jameson Purcell.
It's
because they were already behind on the class of 2026. So try and get ahead on the class of 2027. That is strategically going to put you in the best position. And then you try and pick somebody off in the class of 2026. And it ended up being Cash Herrera, who's the guy in 2026. But it is worth noting that it was a priority for this Indiana staff to go and get Jameson Purcell. And it's been widely reported his parents went to Indiana. And I know he's an Illinois kid, but I'm going to call this an in-state win. Like, you have the built-in advantage of having two alumni as parents and growing up in an Indiana household. Like, yeah, those are like, if that kid wants to come to Indiana, like, those are the recruiting battles you have to win. Have to win those. And to do it in a class that's 2 years away at an elite position, it's just this. It's everything you want to see from your program in terms of recruiting. It's brilliant stuff. Go see a guy, identify him, and go get him.
I'm never going to doubt his evaluation. The fact that they got this commitment, obviously, I'm a little concerned because he's committing as a rising junior right now. So, other players can get into the fold between now and when he signs, which is concerning. The fact that they took him this early is probably the earliest commitment they've taken to date in terms of days before signing day for that class in the Signetti era. I think it speaks volumes to how they evaluate him. You watch that. I mean, the Jacob Bell video, first play is a fucking rocket from sophomore Jameson Purcell. Like, Jesus, holy smokes.
He's got a couple throws
an absolute
on
a 15-yard dig. I mean, this guy's got a cannon. He's only a sophomore in high school, by the way. He's only going to get stronger. I mean, I like the kid. We've had success with 3-star Southpaws too.
Yes, we have. And it's what it allows now Indiana to do with the rest of the class, and how it allows Indiana to sell the rest of the class. I'm thrown off by what Christopher Foot put in the chat. I'm just confused at, yeah.
Did I say that word? I might have said that word.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, maybe they don't like the cursing.
No, I've been trying to keep it clean.
Yeah, I try, but I mean, that shit was a fucking rocket. End of the day, it was. I couldn't describe. It's not just a rocket,
No, his kid's got a missile.
Wasn't just your normal missile. Wasn't just your normal rocket. Yeah.
He make throws on the run. Like, I can see how he would fit into the Curt Signetti system. And like you said, he's young. Although he's going to be, I think he'll be an 18-year-old junior. So I'm not sure if he's got like reclass potential or anything like that, but
probably does. But you don't really need him. Yeah, next year we got Mendoza, and Bell, and
Cash
and Herrera. And
I mean, if all things go well, Fernando Mendoza will not be there. But the ability to then to go to other kids in the class of 2027, like we already mentioned, Showtime sales. Like, is it Jalen Brewster? Is he the?
You never know. We could win a natty, and then Mendoza's like repeat. Be like repeat. Why not?
Whoever the number one defensive tackle in the class of 2027 is, like, Indiana's got a connection with him too, and it's like, when you start going to these higher level recruits and you're like, yeah, this is our class right now. Our quarterback is already on board and it's July of 2025. Like, it's a lot easier to sell your vision when you already sold the most important guy in the field.
Yep.
What a time.
Yep. Yeah. What a world we live in. Remember when we had to send the entire coaching staff to Tampa, Florida, 10 days before signing day to get Michael Penix to commit. Did you know that?
I didn't.
No. That's what happened. That's what happened.
That's what I got for this week, Brad. You got any closing thoughts?
No. Scheduling needs to be standardized, like Signetti said, and yeah, Signetti's got me fired up. It's made me think that I might be underselling with 11-1 with one playoff win.
Well, I don't.
Penn State will be good though. Like Penn
I
State
don't make a record. I
that.
don't make a record prediction because you won't find me putting self-imposed limitations on this Indiana football team. It just won't happen. It literally just won't happen.
I do it because it's what the people want. Okay, it's just
But to your point, I am so fired up after watching Signetti and Fisher and Surratt and Kamara talk about football and talk about being a part of this program. And it's like, I can't believe it's 40 days until the season starts. Like I'm gonna have to run through a wall or something. I don't know what I'm gonna do until then. But we'll be coming to you live every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, here on Indiana at the Voice of College Football on YouTube. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at Indiana VOCFB. You can follow us on Instagram. You can get us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. You can follow me on Twitter at Alec Keyser. You can follow Brad at Bradley_Loomis8. You can follow the Sigs Inside account on Twitter and
just look up Sigs Inside. It'll be the first thing
Sigs Inside. We're on there.
First thing that pops up.
Yeah, I again read my article vocfb.com from Purgatory to Powerhouse: The Rise of Curt Signetti's Indiana Football. If you're still trying to figure out how the hell Indiana got here, and we appreciate everybody hanging out this week. Go check out my appearance on the Voice of College Football show. Check out Brad's appearance on the Big Ten show. Both those will be on Mark Rogers' channel.
I don't get the national, even though we'll get there.
Yeah, play us some tunes on that piano, Brad.
Baby Grand. No, it's not real.
Appreciate you guys hanging out. We'll be back next week. Go Hoosiers.
Go Hoosiers.